Hi, I'm Karen Erickson.
And I'm Kayla Caruana, and we co-run a mother-daughter financial planning practice at IG Private Wealth Management. We're both certified financial planners, and we love what we do.
We love helping clients and achieve their goals and their retirement dreams. You want to consider retirement planning as soon as possible because basically, as time goes by, goals get in your way. If you're young, you got to put yourself through school, and then you want to save for your first house, and then you have a child. And every time you delay saving for retirement, it leaves you less time to compound all of that money in order to grow your retirement pool of assets. So I'd say start as early as possible is always better.
And when you have more time, you have time to plan for all of the things that you might want to spend the money on during your lifetime. So the earlier that you start, the more choices you have, the more flexibility you have, the more places that you can start to save your money. And then with the power of compounding and the power of time on your side, you can make decisions that are best for you at any time in your life rather than being forced into specific decisions.
Yeah, when you're young, you think retirement, when is that ever going to happen? So then you delay those things, and it's more of the immediate things that you're planning for and focused on. But putting a little away for the long-term goals is always the best idea. So the different sources of retirement income, usually we want to make sure that you have enough money to last throughout your whole life and including your partner's life. So our planning usually starts where you're retired and will last till the last of you is 90 years old. And I call that the retirement paycheck. So you want to make sure that you've got your monthly costs all taken care of, that inflation will happen and the cost of living is just a part of our reality. And so we need to make sure that the money lasts now and through retirement. You can use things like Canada Pension Plan, the Old Age Security, your RRSPs, maybe a pension plan at work. All of those are fully taxable, but done over every single year throughout your retirement, you can create a tax-efficient income stream for your retirement paycheck.
And on the other side of things, you have the retirement play check, which is going to be more of the fun that you want to have in retirement. So things like travel, renovations, vehicle upgrades, things that you might want to enjoy throughout your retirement, that comes from what we call the retirement play check side of things, which is going to be the tax-free savings accounts, the non-registered accounts, and the assets that we have a little bit more control over so that we're able to mix them in with your taxable sources of income.
Government benefits form a part of your retirement. We have been contributing to the Canada Pension Plan while you were working. You made contributions. Your employer also made contributions for you. And so during retirement, you will get a stream of income for the rest of your life. Then there is also the Old Age Security. So depending upon your income level during retirement, you may or may not qualify for Old Age Security. And for low-income seniors, you can also qualify for the Guaranteed Income Supplement. There is a lot of information out there when you are preparing for retirement. You can Google, there's lots of information that says contribute to your tax-free savings or your RSP or do both. There's so much information out there as you prepare. Where there's not a lot of information is actually how to get your retirement income out tax efficiently as possible. And so that's where really it's about doing the math. And we have access to powerful financial planning software called Conquest. And it actually devises and it uses AI as a part of its structure. It says that this is going to be the most tax efficient income stream for you. So, you have your guaranteed money from Canada Pension Plan that you'll know exactly how much you qualify for when you retire. And then it will then take your RSP or your RIF minimums and put those in there. It'll take your pension plan. Things that you really can't control how much or how little you take out will be first. And then it will tell you how to subsidize your income during retirement, especially when it comes to lump sum things. So you want to go on a big vacation to China and it's going to cost you $30,000. You don't want to necessarily pull those out of your RIF because that's fully taxable. So it's really important to make sure that your income stream is tax efficient for your monthly expenses, but as well as any kind of travel or lump sum to do renos on your house. All of that is done through software. So we let the math really speak for itself.
So if you're trying to do this process for the first time and you're thinking, well, where do I start? It's all about having a conversation with your partner about how do you want your retirement to look? What do you want to do in your retirement? And get kind of a base understanding of what those expenses will start to look like. And then what do you want to do for fun in your retirement? How much do you want to travel? There's a very different plan if you want to spend $5,000 per month after taxes, or if you want to spend $25,000 a month after taxes. What do those two plans look like? And so you really got to nail down what it is that you actually want your retirement to look like. And once you have those details, we can essentially work backwards and create the most tax efficient way to have that income come out and fulfill those goals and needs.
I think that when we talk about how to adjust your portfolio over time, I think that the common analysis is that as you get older, you should have less equities and more fixed income, which is more things like GICs, high interest savings accounts, bonds, etc. And I really think that that really is a personalized approach, because what you want to do is make sure your risk tolerance is comfortable for you. So we do a good job of making sure that your investments always match your risk tolerance. And I think that's what's important, whether you're pre-retired or retired, because you need to be comfortable with the ride that you're on in the markets and outside of the markets, and make sure that it's comfortable for you. So, if you look at it and say, oh, I'm going to be moderate, but really you're conservative in nature, you're going to want to bail on your retirement and your investments when you shouldn't. So I think it's really important during up and down markets, and we're at an all-time high. I think it's important that you look at risk and how much, yes, you've made, but what that can look like if those markets go down. So I think now's a good time to be making sure that you're looking at that and then seeing what ride is comfortable for you for the long term. That's the most important. And then also your timeline. So as you get older, your timeline decreases, which means that you should be more conservative. If you've got some goals that are going to be coming up in the next year to go on a trip, you don't want that money in the market for the long term. You want that in cash or cash equivalents, so that you don't need to worry about when you actually go on the trip. You have the money ready to go. So I think it's about risk tolerance, and I think it's about timeline.
This is our favorite topic.
Yeah.
I love talking about estate planning and retirement planning combined. It does lead into one of my points about, do you want to pay tax now or do you want to pay tax later? Once you've answered that question and you start to have a very solid retirement plan, what is it going to look like if you passed away or you and your spouse passed away? Two different things happen. Upon the first person's death, you may have spousal rollovers that can provide a mitigation of taxes. So you can roll from one spouse to the other to mitigate those taxes. Upon the last person's death, it gets a little bit more tricky. So upon the last person's death, you have things like your principal residence, your house, that you have to deal with through your estate and through estate planning. And you also have all of your investments. So to simplify it, all of these accounts have different tax implications upon the last person's death. And it's important to just understand what that tax bill looks like.
Yeah, so as you go through retirement, if you pass away earlier in life, then you might have bigger tax bills that are going to come at that time. If you both live till you're 90, then obviously we have reduced some of the RIFs, and we've tried to get the money out of the RIF slowly, called a RIF meltdown. And then we want to make sure that the money will roll over efficiently. So you want to check your beneficiary designations, making sure that everything will roll over properly, as well as make sure that there's money left in the estate to pay the final tax bill. Because once those RIFs and RSPs and all of that come taxable, it's a huge tax bill. And I think that it's shocking to people when we show clients, oh, if you both live till you're 90, this is still going to be your tax bill at death. They're like, wow, that's a big one. But that's what happens, is because you're allowed to roll over to your spouse your registered investments. But then when that final person passes away, that's when the tax bill has to be paid. So you want to make sure that things are handled appropriately. You have good beneficiary designations. You want to review your will, and we'll talk about that in our next next segment, but review your will and your documents and making sure you know everything is in place so that you know where to go, what needs to be done, and you have a list of all of your assets so that you're not hunting around looking for a safety deposit box key. Do you have one or do you not have one? Do you know where the keys are? Do you know the safes codes? All of those things are super important, and that's what has to be dealt with on the last person's death.
Our favorite thing to do is giving that stamp of approval to say, yes, you can hand in your resignation, you can retire, we are ready. And I love that. And being able to get a hug at the end of our meetings and know that you made a huge impact in this couple or this person's life is incredible. It's a great feeling.
We get to watch them on Instagram and watch
Travel.
them live their life that
Yeah.
that they've always dreamed of during retirement.
Yeah.
And you know what, they give us a shout out every once in a while to say that they're doing what they love in retirement because of our help. And I think that is very rewarding in this career, which is not something I grew up saying, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a certified financial planner. It's
I
not
might
something
have.
you could have, but that's not something that you kind of like dream of. But the impact that we make in our clients' lives, and we can help them to successfully retire and do it when we know that the money will last and we know that they can achieve everything they want, it's a very satisfying part.